Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bunzl Cleaning and Hygiene's Transformative Cleaning Trends in 2025 webinar. My name is Thomas Dennett, and I'm a content creator with Bunzl Canada's marketing team, and I'll be the moderator for today's session. Before we jump into the content, I'd like to take a moment to introduce our guest speakers for today's webinar. Darrell Campbell is the sales manager for Bunzl Cleaning and Hygiene, with a focus on sustainable cleaning solutions and optimizing workforce efficiency across healthcare, education, and building service contractors. David Smith is Bunzl Cleaning and Hygiene's Cleaning, Hygiene, and Sanitation Director for Eastern Canada, and he has designed and implemented game-changing cleaning and hygiene programs for numerous colleges, universities, and K-12 school boards. And with over a decade of experience in project management and a specialized background in mechanical and automated cleaning equipment, Anthony Piscitelli is dedicated to finding innovative solutions to enhance cleaning procedures and efficiency. And with that, I will pass it over to today's host, Darrell Campbell. Darrell?
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Very pleased that you've decided to join us today. We'll talk about some trends in our industry that we're hoping can help all your businesses. Cleaning for so long, well, it was never really easy. What I believe now is that it's gotten hard, and almost everywhere it's hard. The finance of cleaning is hard. It's difficult to manage, and the HR resources can be a struggle. Cleaning operators can find a way to work with what they've always had, the tools that you've had, and in many cases that can result in a reduction of appearance levels or even the health and safety within facilities. We'll present and give you some concepts that can look to support and using innovation to allow you to deal with some of the struggles within cleaning and still maintain high quality of cleaning, high appearance levels, and health and safety within buildings. Anthony, you've got exposure to some of Canada's leading and largest cleaning service providers. You're exposed to innovative concepts all the time. What's your input on some of the leading trends in cleaning heading into 2025?
Thanks, Darrell. And first off, just want to thank everyone for joining us today. We really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your busy schedule to be a part of this webinar. So, hopefully you'll gather some information that you could take into the field once this is done. So, Darrell, to your point, I've obviously had a lot of exposure to new technologies, and actually I was lucky enough to be a part and attend the ISSA show a few weeks ago. And that show was a big eye opener because they had some really great new technology that was being showcased. And what I found was a very common theme was an emphasis on technology designed to help cleaning companies streamline their cleaning routines. Two more prevalent technologies I found was, there were a lot of software companies that were focused on helping manage staff's daily operations, help track traffic patterns, and provide real-time data on supply usage. With the ultimate goal of finding operational efficiencies within the workplace, right? I also found that there were a number of manufacturers promoting new autonomous technology that again will help companies allow them to reallocate labor in different ways than they've been able to do in the past. So, I felt that kind of the overarching theme of the show, was being able to leverage technology to help drive a more efficient workforce. To kind of dig into maybe the autonomous piece a little bit more, what I'm finding is that technology is now set or almost has already kind of moved past the infancy stage. Autonomous technology is not a new term. It's not a new theme in our industry, but I think it's something that has been a bit of an anomaly, as not many companies have necessarily gotten on board to date because it's been difficult to find the return on your investment. And so I think with with some newer technologies coming out from both a software perspective and also, different platforms, I noticed there were a lot of pieces of equipment at ISSA where, they were focusing more on smaller units. So a lot of this autonomous technology is moving into smaller and smaller, pieces of equipment, allowing you to get into different spaces. Things, previously the main focus was on large ride-on pieces of equipment. It was very dedicated to big open spaces that would allow you to drive, in a straight line forward and back. And if you didn't have that space, you really weren't going to find the return on investment that you were expecting. And so with companies moving more into smaller and smaller pieces of equipment, you can now start to implement some of these autonomous pieces of equipment into office spaces or smaller washroom areas, or more dynamic settings that will allow you to reallocate some of your labor. So I think with technology improving, we're going to see more and more adopters, and I really am excited about the way this technology has continued to improve, and I think it's only going to become more and more prevalent in the industry. So one of the other pieces that I noticed was that not only are they getting smaller, they're also, they're launching different platforms. So, rather than just having an autonomous scrubber that can only be used on a hard floor, they're coming out with vacuum cleaners, they're coming out with extractors, they're coming out with larger and smaller sweepers. So again, not only are we going to get into more dynamic spaces, we're also going to be able to clean different flooring types, and so again, just expanding your ability to use autonomous technology in your current offices and current spaces.
I love that term, cobotic, and so I want to ask you, how can cobotic technology be used to offset labor challenges for a cleaning operator?
Yeah, great question, Darrell. I think, as everybody, is aware and probably facing, labor shortages is a challenge that we've been having for a long time in the industry. And I don't think it's something that's going to be going away anytime soon. So, autonomous technology definitely allows you to be able to reallocate your labor into other areas, which helps you increase, or I guess, maintain the scope of work that you've committed to without necessarily having to increase your labor. So, one thing I want to make sure is very clear as well is, sometimes we see a common misconception in the industry that, if you implement an autonomous piece of technology, you could potentially replace a human one-to-one. And I think that needs to be addressed, because right now, and kind of to your point of cobotics, it's important to understand that that this is a cobot, right? It's not a replacement of labor. It's something that you can add to your fleet in order to help your current workforce be more productive in other areas. So just one thing to really remember there. And so, if we're leveraging this technology, appropriately, you'll then maybe be able to reduce your labor by, 0.5 to 0.7 of a person, and again, allowing the machine to do some of the, the tedious jobs like cleaning the floors, cleaning your carpets, and then, allowing your workforce to go and focus on more important tasks like disinfection or high touch point areas. And again, keep that scope of work at the level that it needs to be without having to add significant labor, to your bottom line.
I'm really interested to have you say that we're moving past the early adopter stage, and considering that, why is it a good idea right now for businesses to invest in cobotic concepts?
Yeah, I think, other than the fact that technology has now gotten to the point where we can actually see a return on your investment, so it makes sense financially. I think something else to consider is the fact that this technology, although it has moved past the infancy stage, it's going to continue to improve and continue to get better as the years go on. Technology is, improving at a rapid pace, and so I think this technology is going to do the same. I think it's important, even from ensuring that your company is not necessarily getting left behind from a technology perspective. Although it's getting easier and easier to implement this technology in your spaces. I think it's important to understand that there is still a transition period, and there is, it is something that you need to build into your current protocols. And so that's not something that can just be done overnight. So it's really important that even if you're not necessarily willing to, to convert your entire fleet over to autonomous, I mean, I don't think that's something that we're close to necessarily, but I think it's important to at least dip your toe in a little bit, start to get used to autonomous technology and how it has an effect on your current day-to-day business, so that when the time comes where this technology improves to the point where it becomes the norm in the industry, you'll already have experience and an idea of how to implement it into your day-to-day business. And then really be able to ramp up a lot faster than if you were just starting in a year or 2 or 3 years from now.
Thanks, Anthony. That's really great insight. David, I've got a question for you, and related to, and let's shift some gears to a different innovation. But what, if you could explain, are smart cleaning systems? And a little bit more as to why you're seeing them gain some popularity.
Thanks, Darrell, and welcome to everybody this afternoon here. This is a topic that's been gaining importance with our clients, and they're now more informed than they ever have been on a day-to-day basis. And they're asking for more information, more data. There's a pressure not only to clean, but to verify and validate that the process and the tasks were followed and completed. So it's certainly a changing field very quickly.
And so with the adoption across the industry, can you give us some specific details on why cleaning management systems would benefit a building service contractor, but then also an in-house cleaning operation?
Yeah, well, the BSCs, clients used to validate a lot of the work previously by visually checking and using, sort of the antiquated papers ways of keeping a report card, if you will. But you can't tell by just looking, and now people need to know to verify and validate that it got done, and also record those cleanings, and to understand the timings on when they were completed. And all these things are of great value to BSCs. It's a very fiercely competitive space, and so contractors are looking to ways to differentiate themselves by offering these type of smart cleaning management systems. Where facilities managers, it differs slightly, but as it's come up in the discussion today, staffing is a major issue. So data really helps facilities managers to respond to changes that they may have to make in staffing, and optimize staffing location and frequencies and duties. So it's really a benefit to them. There's a number of studies and things that support that. Apex developed a calculator that demonstrates that most of acute hospitals are staffed probably only to 80% of what they should be. So that type of information all comes out of data. And digital cleaning management is going to help you. It's going to help you to figure out where staff are needed and not needed, and more effectively what time you might need them, and the number of frequencies. It's going to help staff to reallocate staff to high traffic areas or high use areas, again, based on timings. And it's going to optimize your cleaning schedule by reducing, or increasing frequency of the tasks being completed. And then there's also other opportunities for training, where you can identify where areas are being missed, or if in fact the staff understand what has to be done and cleaned properly.
You know, given that more facilities and businesses are implementing this software, it stands to reason that there'll be more investment and more development. Where do you see it headed? What's the potential?
Well, I think there's a real need that we're seeing where the facilities or the managers responsible for this information want to go to one place to be able to see it all. It's all critical to have it in front of them. And so you're going to see more and more integration of various softwares through APIs, an application programming interface that's going to allow them to talk to each other and communicate to each other. And we're seeing this we see this already in our day-to-day lives, where you order something from Skip or Uber Eats, and the API shows you the various menus and options you have. It also talks to your bank and processes your payment. So in that same light, the facility manager wants to look at that one dashboard, that one place where all that information can reside.
Excellent. Thanks, David. We'll, although not necessarily a new concept, still trending, are the abilities to improve green cleaning programs. And there's examples of how green cleaning is working. It's performing very well. The industry really should applaud itself on how we've embraced this concept. There's constantly areas where we can improve it. We can make adjustments that will continue to move us in a positive direction with green cleaning. These adjustments will have us having further effect on the environment, on worker safety, and the indoor environment. And I think, David, you've got a good story to tell us about how green cleaning can impact indoor air quality.
Well, Darrell, we've all sort of experienced the last number of years, especially some real-time experiences, I say, in the field. And I guess one that relates to me is the fact that I was in a retail store trying to get some clothing. In checking out at the end, I went up to the counter, and this young lady was encased in plastic shields, all protected from the potential of droplets, I guess. And at the time, I watched her take a bottle of disinfectant, turned out to be a quad disinfectant, and she was basically encasing herself in a giant cloud of disinfectant as she sprayed all the surfaces around her. And I watched her do this after every patron had passed by. When it got to me, I, of course, asked her, how often are you doing that? And she's saying, 70 times a day. And I said, well, let's stop for a moment here and let's talk to your manager, because she was already showing the signs of respiratory distress, right? And so it's a clear case of, and we saw a lot of this during the pandemic, that people were just handing people bottles of disinfectant and various things and not educating them and teaching them proper application. But I guess where that's going is that air quality post pandemic, or as we come out of it, depending on your perspective, it's here to stay, and it's going to continue to be a major focus in years to come. And there's a number of studies that support how poor air and poor air quality can really affect the health and function of students, and lead to problems like increased absenteeism. And where you're headed, I think your choice of cleaning products can really directly impact the air quality in the facilities in a positive or a negative way. So having said that, I'm sure you've got some more benefits that you can touch on with a good sustainable cleaning program.
Yeah, thanks, David. I appreciate your cleaning application experiences, and you made a difference for one person. And if we continue to do that repeatedly, it has a big impact. I've got a lot of appreciation for the organizations like Green Seal and Ecologo and how much they've done to encourage sustainable cleaning practices and purchasing approaches. What's really exciting is to see some of the manufacturers in our industry and all the way through to cleaning operators continuing to want to do better. We've now got formulations that have reduced or eliminated toxicity levels, reduced or eliminated caustic effect levels, and so I encourage everyone to look for those opportunities to make improvements and integrate this type of technology within your green cleaning program. All the while focusing on high levels of cleaning performance. The technology really is there to allow for this. Further to that, the SKU reduction benefits are really quite interesting. We're at a point where we can utilize very few products for most of our cleaning applications. And so there's health and safety benefits to that. There's worker training benefits, but further as well, there's packaging and some of the sustainable advantages that we can realize from it. If we're using fewer products, that means fewer products are being shipped, that we're saving storage space, that overall there's all sorts of additional benefits. I also want to highlight that the industry is starting to utilize really innovation from the packaging side. We can now put cleaning chemicals into 100% post-consumer resin packaging. Part of that is due to the reduced caustic effect from the formulations, but the advancement of the packaging is also significant, and some pretty obvious sustainability benefits from that. I'll just wrap up with a statement before we head into some questions. But what we're seeing within the industry is continued development and investment in some pretty awesome innovation. And I think any cleaning operator would benefit from any one of them, just in a singular application. I encourage all of the cleaning operators who would be on the call today to even look at additional adoption and investment in anything we've brought up. Bundled all together, it could have really a significant impact on your ability and your operation. Please reach out to your industry mentors and contacts, and as well any of your suppliers for that kind of support. Thomas, would you lead us through some questions?
Absolutely. Thank you, Darrell, and thank you as well to David and Anthony for your insights, and thank you to everyone for taking the time to attend, and we hope that you're walking away with some valuable information on the trends that we really see shaping the future of cleaning and hygiene. The time has now come for our Q&A session, so if you hadn't had the chance already, please submit your questions now. As a reminder, on desktop, there's a question mark in the bottom right corner. Click that and you'll be able to submit a question. And if you're on mobile, on the top of your screen, you'll see 3 dots that you can click and submit. And we have had a few questions come in so far. The first one, David, I think this will be a question for you. When it comes to indoor air quality, what are some of the key features or factors someone should consider?
Well, thank you, Thomas. There's a whole bunch of emerging technologies and ways to address it. I think what I can stress to people is it's really important you do your homework. ASHRAE, which is sort of the governing body for air here in North America, just submitted a whole series of recommendations coming out of the pandemic. And again, I think it's important to understand what you're trying to achieve in terms of your indoor air quality and the best way to approach it. So you want to make sure you're looking at all the various technologies and see which one fits best for your particular needs. There's some great emerging Canadian technologies that we're utilizing in the field, but that's, as I say, there's a number of things available, and it's important you get all the facts before making a choice.
Fantastic. Thank you, David. Anthony, I'll throw this one to you. Someone has asked, you mentioned Cobotics a few times throughout this session. Can you explain a little bit more about that term? What does Cobotics mean?
Yeah, I mean, great question. I think it's something, it might be different for everybody, but I think ultimately, what we're trying to explain with the term Cobotics is, that just, reminding that autonomous technology it's not fully self-sufficient. I will say that it is continuing to improve, and the goal is to have the least amount of human interaction possible, because every time you do have human interaction with the autonomous unit, you're reducing your return on investment, because it's taking time away from that operator doing other things. So newer technologies like docking stations that allow the robot or the autonomous unit to drive to its base station, dump, refill, charge, and go back out to perform more cleaning tasks is only helping increase the technology's, we'll say, ability to be self-sufficient. It's just a reminder that even as it gets better and better, you still need to have a human there to ensure that it's running properly. Make sure that if it does run into any challenges, maybe it gets stuck somewhere, or somebody, one of the things we see, depending on the facility that you're in, is maybe sometimes there's people who stand in front of it or don't want it, just they start playing around and they want it to get stuck. So, you can't just assume that you can set this thing off and go home. You do need to have human interaction there. So I think it's, when it comes to Cobotics, just really important to understand that it is something that we need to work together with. It's not just a set it and forget it type of technology. Hopefully that answers the question a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense, Anthony. And I think while we're on the topic of Cobotics and autonomous cleaning, another question we had was, does autonomous cleaning equipment use lithium batteries?
Yeah, great question. I think, and I think overall, not just autonomous technology, I think, as a whole, the industry is moving more and more towards lithium ion technology. In the past, it was something that almost was a little too expensive, and so your return on investment was difficult to find. But as lithium ion technology continues to improve, and also the cost of lithium ion batteries, is reducing, I think overall lithium ion is becoming more prevalent, and that goes hand in hand with autonomous, right? So I think as I see more pieces of equipment or autonomous units getting updated, or even new units coming out, they're coming out with lithium ion batteries, or they're being converted to lithium ion technology. And I think, again, that's only going to improve the ability to get a return on your investment, because in the past, let's assume you're running AGM batteries. The challenge there is that you've got a limited amount of runtime. Let's assume anywhere between 3 to 5 hours. The problem with that is once you run down your battery life, you then have to plug it in for at least probably almost double the amount of runtime. So you're charging it for 6 to 10 hours. And so that reduces your ability to run that machine over a 24-hour period, right? With lithium ion technology and the way it's going, you actually have the ability to get fast chargers that, if you're getting 4 to 5 hours of runtime, you can actually, plug it in with a fast charger and get it pretty close to 100% within 2 or 3 hours. So that really starts to drive a better return on your investment when you can go out run the machine for 3 to 5 hours, plug it in for 2 or 3, run it for another 3 to 5. So in a 24-hour lifespan, 24-hour period, you're going to get a lot more use out of that machine. So I think, again, lithium-ion technology, as it continues to improve, will only improve autonomous technology and the return that you're going to get on it as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Anthony. And a couple more questions here before we wrap up. Darrell, I think this one will be good for you. Someone says they're a bit confused by all the product certifications. They're wondering what should they be looking for when they're choosing sustainable cleaning products.
Thanks, Thomas. And you know, what I find what can add to the confusion is, in addition to product certification, there's building certification and cleaning program certification. And so the three options for certification of a product are Green Seal, Eco Logo, and the EPA has Design for Environment. The Eco Logo and the Green Seal really are in a leadership position regarding sustainable product certification. They have competencies and protocol around and criteria around the attributes of a product. So what are the ingredients in the product, and what testing's been done to help validate, first of all, are they safe products to use? Are they safe products to be in a building, or any residue from those products to exist on surfaces after cleaning? And then also, of course, what are some of the sustainability impacts or impacts on the environment? There are building certifications and cleaning program certifications like LEED, like BOMA Best, and like the ISSA SIMS. They all utilize Green Seal or Eco Logo. And so if you see a Green Seal or Eco Logo label on a product, you should have a lot of confidence that that is highly sustainable and really some of the best choices in the business around green cleaning.
That's great. Thank you, Darrell. And I think we have time for one more question here. I'll field this to everyone here. Someone is asking, what should they be looking for in a cleaning management system?
I'll attempt to go down that road. Ultimately, what it comes down to is a needs analysis, really, of their facility or school or industrial setting, whatever it may be that they're looking to clean and to understand. And cleaning is only one small part of that, but ultimately that will give us the KPIs that we need to build the information that's going to be beneficial and useful for them, whether it be an in-house program or a BSC program or outside contracting of any sort. It really comes down to a needs analysis and a site audit for that facility. And we're more than happy to come do that. We have a team of professionals across the country that have those capabilities to come in and do those site visits. Guys, anybody else want to jump into the deep end on that?
Yeah, it's that's a tough kind of open-ended question there. I guess, to your point, David, it really does depend on the need of the facility, the need of the client. We don't necessarily want to pigeonhole ourselves into a washroom cleaning program. This software technology can do many, many different things. We talk about slip and fall, auditing, talk about even potentially, right in my wheelhouse, equipment pre and post operator checklists, and the ability to manage your equipment and ensuring that it's being kept up with its daily maintenance and operations. I think there's so many different applications that these software technologies can fit into that I wouldn't want to say that there's a specific thing to focus on. I think, again, as Dave mentioned, it would be important to go in, do a site audit, try to understand what's most important to you and your client, and then from there we can tailor a solution around what would benefit the most for your facility.
Guys, well done. I think the only thing I would add is having a good understanding of what improvements a cleaning operation would like to see, and that can really help to direct where we would focus the cleaning management system. And furthermore, who are we reporting to, and what are some of the key performance indicators they would like to see, that as we unfold the implementation, that reporting can really be impactful.
Fantastic. Thank you, Darrell and David and Anthony for those insights. And I think that brings us to the end of our Q&A section. So once again, a big thank you to our experts, and thank you to everyone who attended here today. If you have any more questions about any of the products or the innovations that we discussed today, please reach out to your Bunzl Cleaning and Hygiene rep, and they'll be happy to help further explain how these innovations could be helpful in your business. Once again, thank you, everyone, and hope you have a great day.